Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the Blitzburg Coverage Podcast. I am your host, K Freaking Mac. Here we are once again, back in the saddle. Post NFL draft, going to talk about this draft class for the 2025 NFL draft for the Pittsburgh Steelers. Going to talk about day 1, day 2, day 3, thoughts, analysts, instant reactions, things of that nature. So let's just dive right in. Hope everyone had a good weekend. Looked like it was a really good time in Green Bay. The draft is coming to Pittsburgh next year. That'll be cool. Hopefully, hoping to go to that. But, yeah, man, let's just dive right in. Pick number 21 for the Pittsburgh Steelers. They ended up taking Derek Harmon, defensive tackle from Oregon. A transfer from Michigan State. Transfer to Oregon. Had a really good, solid season last year. Led all defensive tackles with 55 pressures, 12 more than the next closest defensive tackle. Had about 11 tackles for loss, about 8 sacks or 7 sacks or 5.5 sacks, something like that. And was one of the best defensive linemen in this draft. And definitely a player that fills a need. As I had mentioned leading up into this draft, defensive line definitely needed to be addressed. And you get a day 1 starter here at 21. Now, everybody, and I mean everybody, was absolutely either in love with this pick or was losing their. I'm not gonna fucking censor today because everybody was losing their fucking mind over the fact that we didn't take Shedeur Sanders, and I just want to know. Okay, because I was a little surprised as well. But I wasn't mad. It wasn't like this pick came out of the left blue. Like, it didn't come out of the left field. Like, it was either going to be a quarterback or a defensive lineman at pick 21. That's all you needed to know. But I just want to know, how fucking stupid and ridiculous do all the fucking people feel that were hating and talking shit about this pick? Saying, should have been Shedeur, should have been Shedeur, should have been Shedeur. I mean, for fuck's sakes. I bet your guys' fucking tail is so tucked in between your legs, you don't even know where the fuck it is. All you fucking idiots. All these Pittsburgh fans. I swear to God, dude, we have the worst fan base as far as you're either in or you're out. Like, you either love the pick and you fucking get behind it, or you guys just fucking despise it so much you pray to God that the pick we made doesn't even work to the point that you'd rather be wrong than right. And it's fucking asinine to me. You guys, like, okay. Look how stupid we would have looked if we had taken Shedeur Sanders at pick 21. He didn't get drafted till the fucking 5th round. Okay? The league said after round 1, we don't really think he's a top quarterback. Okay. He ought to get drafted tonight. We have to take him tonight. Rounds 2 and 3. You got to trade George Pickens. You got to get a second, get back in, get Shedeur Sanders. We don't do that. Round 3, what do? We take a running back, Caleb Johnson out of Iowa. A position we needed. Pittsburgh Steelers, what do? We run the fucking rock. Get Caleb Johnson, a good zone scheme, wide zone scheme running back from Iowa. A running back that averaged like fucking 5-6 yards a carry when the entire defense knew he was getting the ball. And as he got closer to the later in the game, second half, third, fourth quarter, the kid got stronger as the game went on. And he was the only sole focus of Iowa's offense. Am I saying he's going to be fucking the next best running back in the league? No, but I like this pick. Caleb Johnson was a name that was highly touted at Pittsburgh. Once again, you look at the pre-draft 30 visitors. Derek Harmon checks that box. Caleb Johnson checks that box as well. So again, Steelers draft from that pre-draft 30, visitor list. He's sort of similar to Najee. He's got some good speed. He didn't really have any fumbling issues. Probably a little bit faster than Najee, but he doesn't have the best burst, but when he gets to that second level, he can really pick up some steam, and he's not easy to bring down either. The dude, yards after contact was really good. So this is a Steelers running back pick. Jalen Warren's kind of a more of a speed back. Would have I preferred probably a speed back? Yeah, I would like to see a guy here with some speed, but I'm not going to hate on the Caleb Johnson pick because I can see why it works. And again, Arthur Smith wasn't able to run that wide zone scheme because Najee's game didn't translate well into that part of the offense. And so Caleb Johnson's game translates more into the wide zone offense. But back to the whole Shedeur thing. Round 4, we got to take him. Round 5, we got to take him. He doesn't, like I said, he doesn't go until the 5th round of the Cleveland Browns. Can Shedeur Sanders be good in the NFL? I think he can be a decent starter. But if his last name wasn't Sanders, we wouldn't be having this conversation. When's the last time we talked this much about a Colorado quarterback? Exactly. Not probably since Cordell Stewart. And he didn't even get his fucking number retired either. So fuck off with that, alright? All you fucking idiots after round 1 who were bitching, should have took Shedeur. We would have played ourselves. The kid getting obviously the rest of the league knows a thing or two because nobody fucking wanted to touch him because whether it be concerns with some of his aspects on the field, the off the field fucking circus aspects of, Dion and all the drama and the headaches and all that shit. Pittsburgh doesn't like that shit. Well, we used to not like it, but now we entertain that thanks to Tomlin enabling receiver acts such as Antonio Brown, fucking George Pickens and all that shit. But if we would have drafted Shedeur Sanders in the 1st round, we would have been fucking clowned on. The media would have loved it, but the people who really know football would have fucking known that was a fucking absolute miss. Now, could we be wrong and he be good? Absolutely. But the fact is, the rest of the league didn't view him as a good starting quarterback. Otherwise, he would have been drafted higher. Saints passed on him. Cleveland passed on him multiple times. The Giants passed on him multiple times. Pittsburgh passed on him multiple times. The Raiders passed on him multiple times. And these are the motherfuckers that get paid. Now, do the draft experts and the scouts and the GMs, do they miss more than they hit? Yeah, but this is their job. This is what they do. We're just fans, so fucking stay in your lane. Stay in your fucking lane. Alright? I'm fucking tired of hearing about it. Shedeur Sanders went to the fucking QB hell in Cleveland. Best of luck to you, bud. You're in a room with 4 other quarterbacks, and you're going to be playing against the AFC North, Joe Burrow, that Bengals offense, that Ravens offense and defense, Lamar, Derrick Henry, that defense got fucking better. They had a great draft, in my opinion. The Ravens probably had one of the best drafts this past weekend. And that's coming from, you fucking peep the logo in the back. I call how I see it. And then they got to play us, good fucking luck to you. Well, let's get back on board with our fucking draft, all right? So we go into day 3, and this is where we have a majority of our draft picks, due to the fact that round 2 we got DK Metcalf. So we get to day 3, and with our first pick in day 3, which was a round 4 selection, this one shocked me. This one definitely took me off my seat. Jack Sawyer, defensive end / outside linebacker from Ohio State. We'll just say edge player. In the moment, I really didn't like this pick. I couldn't really get behind it. It's like, okay, so we have T.J. Watt, Alex Highsmith, who are on pretty damn good contracts. T.J. Watt's obviously looking for a contract extension. And then we have Nick Herbig, who's in his 3rd season. So those 3 are already solid. What the fuck we getting Jack Sawyer for? And then I was thinking, well, last year the trio of Nick Herbig, TJ Watt, and Alex Highsmith only played 8 games together. Out of fucking 16. That's half the season. TJ's getting older. Alex Highsmith at times can miss a few games here and there. Injuries can happen, and I guess we want to have a solid 4-man rotation of pass rushers / run stoppers because Jack Sawyer, and this is me speaking unbiasedly as possible as a Michigan fan, you know, he just never really made any big plays in that Ohio State-Michigan series to me. I know that doesn't dictate or determine your entire career, but that game means a lot. I cannot emphasize how much that game means, and players who make plays in that game, go on and can have good careers. And I know he made that great, quote-unquote, great red zone interception against Michigan, but that was just a fucking poor decision by Davis Warren. He waited too long, hesitated, tried floating it, and Jack Sawyer made a good play. I'll give him credit. But outside of that play in the Michigan fucking past 4 seasons, that rivalry game, he has not made any plays that, made my eyes jump. He didn't jump off the screen to me. Jack Sawyer, to me, I give him a solid run defender. I think that's probably the best aspect of his game. He's a good run defender, high motor. I'll say he's a high motor guy. He doesn't he doesn't take off any plays. And so just for that, and he wasn't a guy with massive production as far as sacks go. He was decent. I think he was a little overrated, to be honest, a little overhyped. But for a round 4 player, a guy that can give T.J. Watt and Alex Highsmith, this a reliever here or there, or fucking a breather, I can't be mad at it. The guy was decent at Ohio State. Like I said, high motor, probably a good run defender, and he's probably going to replace that Preston Smith role we had last year, where we literally had to trade for somebody outside of organization because Jeremiah Moon was not it. So when I put it in that perspective, would I rather have Jack Sawyer or Jeremiah Moon? Yeah, Jack Sawyer is better than Jeremiah Moon. But at the moment, I was like, an edge, that's the last fucking thing we needed. What about another defensive lineman? What about another running back? What about a safety? Secondary. But we'll get to that here in a little bit. But obviously, we didn't really value the secondary in this draft. We didn't really value offense in this draft. But Jack Sawyer, for me, I'm going to give all these grades as well here in a little bit. But like I said, we're reviewing all this shit, my opinions, how I felt in the moment. But Jack Sawyer there, I get it. But in the moment, I was kind of just like, what the fuck's he going to do? Outside linebacker 4? I mean, I guess, but I like him for being a run defender. I'll say that. I like that aspect of his game as a pass rusher. He's got shorter arms, and, we'll fucking see. When you get in that fucking linebacker room and you're training with fucking Highsmith and TJ, I'll give him the benefit of the doubt. That brings me to our next selection on day 3. Round 5, we took, Yaha Black. I probably mispronounced that. Defensive tackle from Iowa. Another Iowa selection here. And up until this point, this had been an all Big Ten draft. All Big Ten players. Yaha Black is just a big body. I also forgot to mention Derek Carman's like fucking 6'4", 6'5", like 300 plus pounds. Something crazy. So here we go again with Yaha Black, who's like 6'5", 6'6", 300 some pounds. A big run-stopping clog, like just a big clog, space eater machine. Doesn't offer much in the pass rush game. I don't expect that to be his role, but definitely a guy who can be versatile amongst that defensive line. Probably more of a nose, I would say, but definitely is going to be a nice rotation piece there up on that D-line. Like I said, didn't offer much of a pass rush, but good space eater. It's going to help stop the run. And that was one of the main emphasis of this draft, was stopping the run, getting players up in that D-line. So, I can get behind this one. Again, it's round 5. You can find decent players here, but to me it makes sense. This was another guy that we had a pre-draft 30 visit with. So, it checks the fucking box. Now we get to round 6, and this is where we finally address the quarterback position, where everybody, the entire draft, I mean, Jesus Christ, whether it be the media or our fucking fans, What about quarterback? What about quarterback? What about quarterback? What about quarterback? Who's throwing the ball? Who's throwing the ball? Jesus Christ, can you people not fucking read between the lines here? Aaron Rodgers is coming to Pittsburgh. It's fucking obvious. We have put in all of our eggs into that basket. If we didn't take a quarterback by round 1 or round 3, it was fucking obvious. We felt we didn't need to address it. We're going to invest our fucking draft capital in other positions on the team because the quarterback class wasn't that good. Why the fuck would we take one early then? Exactly. Obviously, we are putting a lot of stock into Aaron Rodgers. That's what this draft told me. But we get Will Howard, round 6. I was kind of surprised that the quarterbacks lasted this long, but it made sense because not a lot of teams needed quarterbacks. And so, fuck it. If you can wait and then take one, fuck it, do it that way. Will Howard, once again, another Ohio State player, but he transferred from Kansas State, Big 12 conference. A little bit of a dual threat. He's about 6'4", 230-ish, 220-ish. Big prototypical quarterback. Wasn't really too familiar with his game until he went to Ohio State. I'll say this much. He didn't play well. Him or the Buckeyes did not play well in that Michigan game. But then after that, they went on a roll. And Will Howard played a big part of their success. Big throws down the field. Big third down conversions when they needed it. And for a 6th-round pick and a potential flyer on a QB3, I can't really hate on it. He was decent to me. Not going to say he's the fucking next coming of Joe Montana or anything crazy. I don't think he's trash. For a QB3, and potentially, I think could be a decent backup in the NFL, I'm okay with it. I obviously didn't want to see Ohio State quarterback drafted here just because I fucking hate Ohio State with the fucking every inch of my soul. I hate those motherfuckers. But, I don't really consider him an Ohio State player as much as I do a Jack Sawyer. But he played well. You know what? I'll just say he played well for their natty run. The rest of the season, some ups and downs. But during their national title run, he played well. I'll just leave it at that. So I'm with this pick. And now we get to our 7th round. Two of our 7th round selections. First one being Carson Bruner, linebacker out of Washington. Again, another Big Ten player. I mean, Jesus Christ, that's fucking what? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That's 6 Big Ten players. Carson Bruner was a backup for the first couple of years at Washington. Then in his final season, got 100-plus tackles. I guess he's the son of one of our scouts, Mark Bruner, who was, I don't remember, I know he played for us or did something. I don't know. We've had so many fucking legends, it's hard to keep track of. But this was just a fucking family hometown pick. Probably a guy who offers little to actual significant or any type of snaps as far as starting defense goes. Not even backup defense. Probably just a special teams player. To me, special teams player at best. I mean, they really need another linebacker here. This was just a hometown family pick to me, so if he turns into something cool, but I don't really expect much. Probably a special teams player at best. So, and a guy to try to help Mark Robinson. I don't know. Más o menos. And then our final draft selection of the 2025 NFL Draft, we took Dante Kent, cornerback out of Central Michigan's Fire Up Chips, baby. Not a Central Michigan fan, but I always play as them in my fucking NCAA dynasties and all that. That goes way back to my other YouTube gaming days. But Dante Kent was a guy that had some good slot film. Not really too familiar with his game. But a lot of names here that people wanted were like Isaiah Bond, Kobe Bryant, who was a good cornerback. I would rather have seen one of those guys go, but who the fuck am I to speak? But this one, it's a cornerback, it's a 7th rounder, special teams at best, may offer something, some kind of play in the slot, but once again, these later day picks are kind of hard to get a feel for them, and whether or not they make the team or not is to be determined. But overall, to me, let's give a grade. Derek Harmon, to me, is probably a B+. People were fucking bitching we could have traded back and got Harmon. I don't know about that. Personally, I really don't know about that. If you're comfortable taking a guy at 21 that you're cool with, as that was something that was mentioned by Omar Khan and Tomlin, that their phone was ringing heavily there. But they didn't want to trade away, and this, I don't know, player they wanted there in Derek Harmon. I can get behind it. And just a quick fucking shout out to Derek Harmon, man, and for what he's going through right now. His mom had been battling some major health issues most of her life, and he played for her and was mainly motivated by, her struggles and things of that nature. And she unfortunately passed away the next day after he got drafted. So she was able to finally see her son fulfill his dream. And, I couldn't even imagine. How do you, really live in the moment? How can you go from such a high to such a low, man? Losing your mom, your number one fucking supporter, your biggest fan. And so that's really sad. Hopefully he's in a somewhat decent mind space. I know, you have been working your entire life from fucking Pop Warner days, elementary school, middle school, high school, flag, whatever, man, like, to make it this far, and then your number one fan is there just for the moment you get drafted and they pass away. I'm sure that is just a fucking awful tragedy. But for me, man, Derek Harmon for me is a B+. To me, at this point in the draft, it was Shedeur or Derek Harmon. I'm sure as fuck glad we took Derek Harmon. I think he's going to be a good player for us. You're talking a guy who's up on that D-line with Cam Hayward, Larry Ogunjobi, who now we have a solid rotation. TJ Watt, Alex Highsmith, Derek Harmon is going to be next to TJ, and then Cam on the other side, man. I just hope to God we get to see him play, and, hope everybody stays super. I just hope we don't get fucking hit by the injury bug, because this defense has the potential to be fucking nasty this year. But so I like this pick. We need a D-line, somebody that can help. Somebody that can offer some pass rush, stop the run, and he played pretty big at Oregon. So let's get to our next selection. Caleb Johnson, to me, round 3 selection, running back that probably, considering he got picked at 82, probably should have went earlier. This one, to me, again, is probably like a B+ or a solid B for sure. We were definitely going to draft the running back during day 2 at some point, or early day 3. And again, Caleb Johnson, to me, is probably going to be a solid running back 2, running back 3, between him, Kenneth Gainwell, and Jalen Warren. I'll get behind it. I think a lot of people are sleeping on this kid. I think he'll give us some good production. So I'm with this one. Jack Sir, to me, I'm going to give this one a B-. I don't hate the player. I just, taking an edge to me here. I guess the value is too good for them to pass up. And they really liked his character. And so, fuck it. We'll give it a B-. I'd rather see them gone somewhere else. But, I guess if we're going to be defensively focused, you can never have enough pass rushers. And as an outside linebacker over the Jeremiah Moons of the world, I'll take Jack Sawyer. Yaha Black, defensive tackle out of Iowa. We'll give that one a B-. A guy who's not going to offer much pass rush, but big space eater, run clog machine. Going to give us another big body up on that D-line with Keanu Benton. If I said Larry Ogunjobi earlier, my apologies. Keanu Benton, Derek Harmon. We had Logan Lee last year. So, let's see what the fuck the Marvin Leal has this year. So, let's see, man. You're adding more Iowa players. You're adding defensive linemen. We're trying to stop the run. That's a big emphasis. And trying to get better on defense. So I don't mind this one. But then again, he's 6'6", 330 pounds. How fast and athletic is he going to really be? He's just a big fucking space-eating machine. Now that takes us to round 6 selection, Will Howard. I give this one probably a B-. Not too early of a pick. Probably where Will Howard should have went. Maybe he should have went earlier, but a quarterback is what we needed. Obviously, everybody's going to be unhappy it wasn't a higher draft selection. I don't really give a fuck. Like I said, this quarterback class really wasn't too appealing to me outside of a Cam Ward. Jalen Monroe, I feel like would have been cool in rounds 3 or 4 potentially, but again, it's pretty evident Pittsburgh is fully on board with Aaron Rodgers coming in. So Will Howard has a QB 4/3 and a potential decent backup. Can't really hate on it for a round 6 selection. Carson Bruner, linebacker out of Washington, probably a C+. Special teams player at best. Only really had one good year at Washington, and this was just the hometown family pick, so not really much to say about this one. Dante Kent, cornerback. Again, we don't really value the cornerback we don't really value the secondary for drafting. I don't know why. I mean, we always take late round flyers on secondary players, and none of them ever pan out. They become special teams at best. Never really give us any significant snaps or anything valuable. I'd be surprised if he makes the team. It's just what it is. So, yeah, probably a C+ at best. We needed a corner, but you're not going to really find a starter in the 7th unless you fucking stumble upon a gem like a Richard Sherman or someone like that. So I give this overall draft a solid B for me. Maybe a B+. It's early as fuck. In a couple of years, we'll see how this goes. Maybe leading up to the season, I'll review some of our recent drafts and talk about that. Compare what we felt in real time compared to what it is now, because drafts need time to kind of sizzle and develop. So we're about 30 minutes in almost, and yeah, I think we'll stop that right here. I think this was a good podcast episode. Curious to see what everybody else's thoughts are on this draft. Again, very defensive heavy. You're talking 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 picks on the defensive side of the ball, and then 2 picks on offense, being running back and quarterback. And then defensively, we invested in the trenches, which really wasn't surprising to me when you think about it, because Andy Weddle, former Eagles GM or draft whatever dude, assistant, was a guy that drafted heavily in the trenches, whether it be on the offensive line or defensive line. And that's what Omar Khan and Andy Weddle have focused on when you look at these drafts. And as it relates to the past 2 years, and this one included. The past 2 years, we had taken Broderick Jones, Troy Fatanu, Zach Frazier, and Mason McCormick. That's 4 offensive linemen. And then I know there was like a 7th rounder in there somewhere. So that's 4 or 5 offensive linemen. We needed to attack that. And now we attack the defensive line. Now you're talking 3 defensive line picks. And top of Logan Lee last year, that makes 4. So, what does Pittsburgh do? Let's attack the trenches, because trenches wins the game, man. If you have a good pass rush, good D-line, you have a chance to win a lot of games. You pressure that quarterback, you stop the run, you hold opposing offenses to below 20 points, 17 if that, 14. You have a chance of winning good games, even if your offense sucks ass, and that looks to be their formula. We're a defensive first mantra team. That's Tomlin's mindset. I know it's 2025, but the Steelers, as much as we want them to change, they stick to their core values, and that is defensive first. I wish we had gone some more offense in this draft, but that's not who we are, man. And it's probably going to come back to bite us in the ass some games, but some games we'll win with it, and that's just what it is. But, when you're playing quarterbacks in the AFC like Patrick Mahomes, Josh Allen, Joe Burrow, Lamar Jackson, Justin Herbert, C.J. Stroud, you gotta have a defense. You gotta have a defense. I mean, look what the Eagles did to the Chiefs. Now, obviously, they have a great offense. But look what their defense did. Vic Fangio and that Eagles defensive pass rush fucked up the Chiefs. That's what we're trying to build. But do we have the coaching to really fully, bring out the best in said talent? That's to be determined. But overall, we attacked the defensive line. You got a decent edge player in Jack Sawyer. How can I hate? So we're going to build more on that defense. The rich gets richer. And we have a lot of stock into the Aaron Rodgers train. DK Metcalf, George Pickens, Caleb Johnson, Jalen Warren, the Muth, Darnell, Roman Wilson, Calvin Austin, a young, merging offensive line. So we attacked the defensive line, at a quarterback, at a running back, and then hopefully some special teams depth with the late 2 7th-round selections, and that's what it is, man. So I don't really think anyone can hate on this pick. The only day that kind of looked kind of shady to me would be day 3, if you want to say that day. But outside of that, man, this is a B to B plus draft for me. And we made a trade too and got an extra 7th with the Chiefs. So we'll see how this goes. And hope you all enjoyed the podcast episode. Blitzburg Coverage Podcast. We are everywhere: Facebook, Twitter /X, Instagram, TikTok, YouTube, Spotify, YouTube, and that's the end. Hope you all enjoyed it. Share it, love it. Steeler Nation, how we feel about this draft? Feel pretty decent. And, rookie minicamp starts soon. Can't wait to see how things go. And here we go, man. Off season's underway. Hope you all enjoyed the podcast episode. We are out this thing. Peace.